My name is James. It's a pleasure for this opportunity today to share my views with guys wherever you are seeing this all over the world. These are practically my views, and some of the things I'll be sharing are things I've seen work in other people's lives, and some of them are things I've personally practiced. And I feel like sharing it basically it speaks to the thoughts I'll be sharing today speaks to young people that are planning to start their life. Don't really have need to have intention to marry, and this whatever I'm sharing I should even spur you to want to do it if you really understand it. I'm not apostle of wedding, but I feel marriage is a great thing. If people understand just this one reason why they should marry, I think everybody may be interested in the in the institution called marriage. So I'll quickly be sharing my thoughts on one reason why you should get married. Basically, like I said, I've been married for a while. I've seen my parents were married until lately that my mom died. They've been married for over 50 years. She died just recently, maybe a few weeks ago. So I learned a great deal from their marriage. I have one favorite uncle too that I actually adore. His marriage with his lovely wife. I think he's been married for over 40 years too. I adore him. I love I because I've stayed with him. I stayed with him for a while, quite close with the kids. So some of the things I'll be sharing here majorly may not be. It's not really about basically how to manage your marriage on day-to-day basis. It's basically just like I said, one reason why I think we should all get married, especially if you don't really have to, you don't need money. If you understand this principle that I'm about to share, is that but if you are strong and healthy, I can satisfy your spouse. I think this reason is big enough. But physically, if you cannot, it should not be physically if you are not healthy to go into the institution of marriage. But if you are healthy, I don't think there's any and you think it's something you like to do. I don't think there's any reason why you should wait longer than necessary, especially if you're an adult of age and you are literate, because it's important. It's one of the major conditions I think is important in this age and time for marriage. If you are not literate, I don't think you should be getting married at all, especially in this age and time. If you are not literate, I don't think you should be getting married. I don't have authority to determine what you want to do. I'm just saying that because this discussion requires anyone that will have to get into it to be literate and it's enough to be able to write and read. So what I'm trying to say is this: my experience, though what I'm about sharing, I wish I knew it before I get married. And that does not underscore the fact that whether I'm having a wonderful marriage or not, it really have nothing to do with it. It's just something I would have loved to know. Maybe my journey would have been a lot better, fast, more enjoyable, but it was not really bad because to a great extent, my marriage is still based on a principle I learned quite younger before I got into the institution of marriage, before I become married to my wife. And the principle was centered around First Corinthians chapter 13. If you read from verse 4 up to like verse 13, and that was briefly talking to love. That's verse, those verses of the Bible give a brief description of the word love. And the insight I got in in those verses is the reason why. And I hear people talk about there are different types of love. I tend to disagree with them. I've heard people have been in church service whereby pastors, and mostly it's not really there. It's not really the original thought about of those pastors. I think it was from a popular book. I can't remember the title of the book, whereby there's something they call agape. I think it's filio, all kinds of love. But after reading First Corinthians chapter 13 from verse 4 downward, I came to the conclusion that there's nothing like one type of love or different types of love. Love is love. And when we talk about those definitions that are around different types of love, you discover that in the context of love, in those definitions, those classifications, they are trying to align love with relationships based on different types of relationship. The writer was trying to say that for different kind of relation, there are different kind of love. But from after studying First Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 to 13, I discovered that love is universal. Basically, that chapter, if you go through it, it's looking at, it's actually pointing to what love is. I will not be able to give you full because this is not a religious discussion. So I may not be reading the verse, but basically what they say, if you have time, you can go through it, even whether you're a Christian, you're a Muslim. I believe that description is universal, or you're an Hinduist, whatever religion you might subscribe to. It's not really important as far as I'm concerned, and I wouldn't judge you for who you are because most of us are. I became a Christian just because my parents were Christians, so I came very early in contact with the Bible, courtesy of my mom, and everything had becomes spiritually religious. Right, it's all about my mom, really about her. So it doesn't make it special that I was a Christian for so long. Though I've stopped being one. I would prefer to be addressed by my names and not to subscribe to. Actually, if you really look at the Bible, it was not Christianity was not Jesus's idea. According to the Bible, it was even what the Bible would tag what the Bible would tag as infidels. They were the ones that described Jesus, use the word Christian to describe the followers of Christ. So if I say I'm not a Christian, I don't think it's an heresy, really. So I would like, I would prefer it to be addressed as my name, Soluato James Oderelu. I don't belong. I don't like group thing when it comes to spirituality or religion. So what I was saying basically is that if you look at that First Corinthians chapter 13, reading from verse 4 to 13, you discover that the author of the book was trying to do some justice to the word Christian love. He said, "Love endures all things, believes all things, endures all things." He said, "Love does not insist on its own. It's charitable." You understand? If you look at it, basically what he's saying that he's trying to say that love is responsible. That when you and I believe that's the basis of a relationship, whether it is marital relationship between father and daughter, father and son, human to human relationship between you and your colleagues in the office, relationship between you and a member of your church or your religion, relationship between man to human, human to animal, human to nature. If you grab that concept really and you place it by side, you discover that it's very close to the truth, very close to the truth as far as I'm concerned. And I think if you really read it with an unbiased mind, so you see that it's very close to the truth. Well, what love basically is talking about being responsible. What do I mean by this? That You love people without unconditionally. You are not supposed to expect something in return. It's who you are. It's you love because you are a peacemaker because you are love. You understand what I'm trying to say? So that's basically what. So if you, it was with this mindset that I got into marriage, and I think it's one of the things that has been able to sustain that relationship with my family, with my kids, and that's what I've been able to sustain that relationship. Quite frankly, before I discovered this particular thing at the beginning, I've shared with a few people I've come in contact with, and a lot of them have agreed with me. And the principal one reason why I think everybody should get married and though that was not the reason why I got married. I got married because I believe I understood love, and to a great extent, what I shared with you, First Corinthians 13, was what I also shared with my wife before we got married, because I believe with that understanding, surviving in that relationship would not really be a problem. Even secretly, I used to have a feeling that with that understanding, I could live with the devil. So that's what it is. But that's not what I'm will be sharing with my list, those people that probably will be coming across this video today. What I'll be sharing basically is that I believe that before you get married, you need to understand that there's a principle also in the Bible. I've been saying a lot of things about, as much as I'm not a pastor, but like I said, I'm quite familiar with the Bible. So there are a lot of things about life that most of the information, most of the principles about life that I got from the Bible. He said there's a place in the Bible, I don't know where that verse really is. He said two is better than one. He said he went as far and said that if I won't my please my figures may not be correct. He said if one can defeat a maybe 1,000, that two will defeat 10,000. So basically what he's saying is I think that is talking to strength of company. And if in life, if you want to be highly successful financially and otherwise, you need a company. You understand? You need a company for you to become very successful in life. Without company, one of the reasons why, especially for financial success, why company is very important is because financial success or wealth is accumulation of money. It's your ability to attract money to yourself, retain it in form of investment or whatsoever, retain as much as possible. A millionaire means is worth $1 million. A billionaire means that person is worth $1 billion. What it means is that in terms of assets, in terms of cash, different kind of we have the financially agreeable form of asset is we have money, we have investments, we have it could be inventories, those are kind of things that are assets. Anything that can easily be converted to money, anything you can sell and realize money, properties, cars, those are the kind of thing you can call an asset. So if you have money or any form of asset that at the end of the day, if it is sum up, it's up to about $1 million, you are called a millionaire. You have when it is up to about $1 billion, you are called a billionaire. That's how people what are determined. It could be in form of equity, could be in form of shares of companies and all that. So that's basically if you want, if you have a dream, and I think everybody needs money, whether we like it or not. Even the Bible equally agrees that money is the root of all evil. But he said money answereth all things too. So you need money to be able to function in our world correctly. You need funds, you need money. So and if you, so whether you want to acquire money or not, you need money. So you have to learn how to acquire money somehow or attract money somehow or have money somehow in order to, because you can't move around basically without money. You have to buy fuel, you need a car, you have to eat, you pay. Because even if you have to farm, you need money to buy cutlass, buy whatever, or hire a tractor or whatever. So you need money. So you have to understand how to make money, how to attract funds into your life. So if one of your quests as human being is to attract as much as possible, you need a company. You have to be able to understand how to form a company. That is how to make people work for you for either a price. Yes, how to make people work for you, attract people to your dream to work for you for a price. That's the power of making money. You have to form. That's what I say. You have to be able to. And if you realize that one of the easiest means or ways through which you can form a company, whether you make it legal or not, is through marriage. It's if you find a woman just because she knows you can do other things, she can become part of your company. It's very easy. And that's one of the easiest way to get somebody to work for you for free, at least initially. I'm not saying they won't have to get paid. Over time, you may have to even pay her more than you pay somebody higher. But initially, you may not really have to pay her. If you can articulate your visions, your goals, and she can buy into them, you don't have to pay her. And she'll be your partner, your company, your business. You start building your life. So if you understand this concept that I'm talking about, clearly you discover that you don't even need money to marry. All you need to is to have a clear goal, clear mission. You have to be focused. You have to know where you are going. And I will also advise. That's why I say this be what I'm suggesting here. This one reason apply to only people that are literate. Why do I say so? Because I would need you. You must write down these goals. There's something I learned from my pastor, Pastor Sam Ade. He said there is a long-term perspective. That means your ability to be able to put down your goals for the next 40 years, 50 years. In these times, in terms of marriage, this is very important. You must um, be able to have a clear goal that you probably have written down. 50 years, where will you like to be in 50 years' time? What will you like to be in 5 years' time? Where would you like to be in 10 years' time? Where would you like to be in 30 years? You must have that goal clearly written out before you start looking for a lady or a guy to go into partnership with, to form a company, to marry. Once you have that, well written, looking at the cons, looking at, you understand, every other thing, why your plan will work, why it will not work. You understand? Once you have that, then you can go ahead. It, so far you're an adult. I will even encourage early marriage in this context. Start early as possible. You find an adult, you have your goal, especially if you know at some point you are going to get married. It's not like the if there's a part in Nigeria, Easterners, the Igbos, you see them, some don't get married until they are 50 just because they are trying to acquire enough wealth. I believe they understand this people I'm talking about. They won't have to wait for that long because this principle is looking at the context that when you get married, you don't have to have kids. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you marry and immediately you start having kids because by the time you introduce kids into this equation, this principle I'm teaching, it may become problematic. Why? Because kids, you need funds to take care of kids. And if you live in a country like Nigeria, whereby there is no social safety net for children or for families, it may be difficult for you, especially if you are not. That's why I'm saying you don't need money to do what I'm saying. If you live in a country where there is no social safety net for family for taking care of kids, introducing kids to this equation will become a problem because taking care of kids, especially in countries like Nigeria, is quite expensive because kids, when they are hungry, they will cry. When they need something, they cry. So it could be very emotional, it could be problematic. So So what I'm trying to say, if you want to do, when you are married for a company. You understand? So what I mean is that when you have your clear goal, you share that goal with whoever you want to get married to, and that person too must have a goal. You understand? That person must have a goal. If I have time, maybe in another video, I may teach you on how to write a goal and whatever. But for now, this is not my focus. But you can Google. If you go to AI, okay, it will teach you on how to write a goal. So all you need to do is write a goal, write a plan, 40, 20, 50 years plan. When you meet somebody you like, maybe you are attracted to the person physically. The next thing you are asking the person, if you so much like the person, you can ask the person to, please, what is your goal? If he doesn't have one, educator, let her go and write a goal. Once you write a goal, you people, two of you come back, see whether your goals align. It may not really have to be the same, but there must be some level of alignment. I think it should be able to work out. Once you people have this and there's an alignment, then strictly you have to be very convinced about those goals. It's not like tomorrow you come around and change, so there will be no conflict. You have to be clear about where you want to go, how many kids you want to have, where you want to live, the kind of job, how much wealth you love to acquire so that you both of you can settle to work. Then, like I said, it is not important to have kids, especially if you're in Nigeria, because once you have kids, there will be a lot of distraction. You need money. You can't do, may not be able to do 101, 001. What I mean by 001, that means eat in the morning. I mean, don't eat in the morning, don't eat in the afternoon, eat at night, or eat in the morning, don't eat in the afternoon. You may not be able to do that with a child because it becomes problematic. But two of you that knows where you are going, know you are going somewhere, you may deny yourself a few things. And also understand you don't you can have sex. That's what I'm saying. There's no law that says every form of sex should result in childbearing. So you can encourage your wife. Maybe the husband is the one that can get a contraceptive. The wife gets a contract so that you know that kids are not coming, and that can be for as long as you want until both of you achieve your goals. Your goals should have timeline. So you know when you'll be able to make enough money to take care of kids. So you know that okay, it's after 5 years you are going to start having kids. It's after 10 years. No matter how long, depending on where you guys are coming from. So what really matters is for both of you to have goals, understand your goals, and have a plan on how to achieve those goals, how long it's going to take you. And when you think if you really, really want to have kids, when you can introduce kids into that into this arrangement I'm talking about. So with this basic knowledge, you realize that you don't really need money to get married. All you need is two people that understand love and that know where they are going. Then once you have and their goals have goals that align, then once you have this, you discover that there will practically be nothing that will be too too difficult for two of you to conquer. Like I said, the Bible says, if two can, because specifically if you look at life, life is all about solving problems. Like I've told you, the concept of wealth is basic. It's either when you want to make money, you have to really understand it's about. It's either you get the money willingly because it's all the money you need. There's only very few people that will probably see funny alerts in their accounts that can change their life, or will see money on the road and pick, and that will be the source of it. Actually, those things are steady. If you have an alert, you should go to the bank and return the money to the owner. If you see money on the road, you should leave it. You have to pick it up. If you don't pick it up, you don't necessarily will come and make the money there. So they are still getting money. You just that you may not be a certain force here, or you have to deceive anybody because you actually didn't make them misplace those funds. So, but if you really look at if you don't do that, then you have to get if you have to get money willingly from people's pockets, that means you have to give them value. Nobody will dash you money, really, really. Even if you want to beg, there is I don't there are very few people that can beg into wealth. And it's a very tedious process. Begging into wealth is very tedious. It's you have to lose shape. You understand what I'm trying to so if you understand that for you to make money, that's the basic principle of money. It's people will have to give you if you want people to give you money, it's a share of their funds you want. So you must have a product or a service that you are rendering. You must provide value before people will give you money. And life is majorly about solving problems. So if you have a partner, that means it takes two of you to solve a problem. It becomes a lot easier to solve a problem when you have somebody to share it with. So there are times that people say two good days are better than one. I do not really have a problem with that. Two good days. But so as I'm concerned, I would not use the criteria good because how do you know someone is good? How do you know somebody? That's why I say you need to have a goal. You need to have clearly written goals, share it with each other. And if you guys, your goals align, then go ahead and form a company. Can be legal, can be illegal. But after sometimes, I think it's best is legal because if possible, you even register the company so that you understand the equity of this process. That this is when this whole thing becomes profitable. This is your own share of the thing. You understand what I'm saying? Clear goals. It's like you are going into war. You want to go and fight a war. When you win, there must be a sharing formula. You have to agree on all those things. You have to agree on all those things. Forget whatever you have learned about marriage. I don't believe marriage is just for purpose of creation, reproduction, or living on one bed of roses or other that. That may be challenges that come in your in this quest. But once you people are clear about where you are going, it's very easy to someone, and you know it's a business relation, it's a partnership. It reduces a lot of emotions. You understand what I'm saying? You people know why you are in it. You understand? Then you come out and sign a contract. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? So when you have this mindset, I think it will it will help people to once you understand this because it makes people get married as early as possible and they start building their lives. You don't have to wait till you are 40, 50, 60. Then you start, I don't understand. Sometimes I get confused. When will you start taking care of your kids? So by 40, some people already, they have erectile dysfunction. You understand? You can imagine. That's when you want to start a life. I don't know how do you satisfy your wife. So those things are very important. So what I'm trying to say is you once you understand this concept, you understand that this is a partnership and it's based on the principle two is better than one. You know that you guys are in it for company, for business. You understand? Procreation is part of it, it's one of the benefits. You understand? So and you plan that at some point, okay, I love kids. I don't think marriage is not really about kids. You can marry and not want to get, but at least when you do it for business, it's not going to be boring. It's not it's going to be fun. I can assure you it's going to be fun. If you do this, so this is so if you feel what I've shared today makes sense to you, like it, please you share with your friends, share on your various social media handle. So my name remains Luato James Odera, and I hope we get to say thank you for spending time listening to my thoughts.